Okay, now we're going to review the swings. The swings is one of the core movements, one of the main movements, one of your main tools to fix your back, to fix your whole entire body, get your cardio going, get your legs going, get your core going. It's excellent for everything, okay? Swings, swings, swings. You can never do too many swings. Well, maybe you can, but...
If you're only going to do one kettlebell exercise and learn one, it would be the swing.
It would be the swing, okay? So again, the swing has tons of variations. It's not just about swinging with two hands. You can do tons of variations. So today we'll just kind of review a few. Two-handed swings, one-handed swings, and then alternating one-hand switches, okay? So for the two-handed swings, just grab it and very naturally, thumb to thumb, nice and comfortably. Your stance is nice and open, start rocking it, absorb with your legs a little bit, pivot at the hips, and start swinging, okay? So make sure to really include the hips. Make sure to bend at the hips and thrust your hips up. Thrust your hips up. Keep looking up, okay? You don't want to be swinging and looking down between your legs, okay? If you're seeing in between, your back is probably being compromised at the same time, okay? So make sure to use that proper hip thrust, and that's what's going to get the kettlebell up. If you're doing a good hip thrust and it's only coming down 45 or coming up 45 degrees, if that's what your hips are producing right now, that's good. As long as you're not lifting with your shoulders, this is wrong. So on your way up, if the kettlebell starts being below your hands, it's probably because you're lifting. Same time, if you're really thrusting and the kettlebell pops up, don't do that either. Follow it. Keep it nice and line straight, okay? So now we're going to do a one-handed swing. So letting go, one hand, the other hand is up, rodeo style. Just keep one hand on. Making sure the thumb goes back in between your legs. By doing the thumb back, it protects your elbow. You're not hyperextending your own elbow against your own body, okay? So always, always thumb back in between. That's really, really important. So now, as Nat's been doing, alternating one-hand swings. So switching every single time. Up, up. So rotate on top. Palm to palm connection. Palm to palm. Thumb back. Palm to palm. Thumb back. Palm to palm. Thumb back. Okay? Nice and fluid. The other hand always goes up. Never put the hand on the thigh. If you start getting tired, you start putting your hand on the thigh, that's a no-no, all right? So this will get your cardio going. Swing, swing, swings. Look at our site. We're going to have a lot more demos for you. We're trying to just teach it to you really quickly here. But the swing is one of those key factors that will get you breathing. It'll get you breathing.
And I think one key what we have to mention is to make sure that there's that hip thrust at the end, because if you don't do that, you're going to put too much weight on your sacrum, and you're most likely going to end up with back pain. So you don't want that. You want to be squatting down and really trusting at the end to lock.
That's right. Your back is working for only a microsecond right at the beginning right here. Your back is working. The rest of the time, you're not working at all. It's loose up in the air. So it all comes a one-shot deal. So it's not like a deadlift or a straight back deadlift. Good morning. It's not about that. Your back is not strained and damaging itself. This is good for your back. You're engaging it at the right time, very quick little explosion, and then it's just fluid.
We often say in our classes, if you're feeling your lower back, you're not squeezing your bum cheeks enough. That's what it is. Right. If you looked earlier at some of the stuff we did with the squats, we forced the hips forward. You force the hips forward by squeezing the bum cheeks. You cannot stop your hips from going forward if you squeeze your bum cheeks. And the moment you do that, you take all the pressure off the lower back and you're stacking your hips properly, right? And that's the key that you want to do. So when you finish the squat, you do that. When you do a swing, you do that. And that's where you get the thrust from. So again, focus on squeezing your butt. You get tired, squeeze the butt harder. Your back starts getting warm, squeeze the butt harder. It's your sign that you're not using your hips properly.
And there's variations here. You can use more quads if you want to. It's not necessarily wrong. It's a different style of swing, okay? Some people will do the swing entirely using their hamstring and their glutes, and some people use a little bit more quads, okay? We kind of use a little bit of both, so variation. Some days it's more quads, some days it's more hips and hamstring. So your hamstring will get heavily used here at this point. So just make sure to protect your back. And if you have herniated disc or something like that, as long as you're healthy again, this is a great tool to rebuild everything. I'm attested. I have a double herniated disc a couple years back. There was some home renos, having young children.
You didn't have the children.
I didn't have it, but I held them and I fell asleep with them and I didn't want to move for too long.
And as Doc will attest to, when I started going to see her 2.5 years ago, I had the worst sciatic issue in the world. I was stuck in idiosyncratic.
And I told you to work
She
your
said
core.
something about core back then. I don't remember.
What they know, huh?
So, but I'll tell you, sorry to interrupt, but it's kettlebells, and that's how I got into kettlebells, and I'm 10,000% better. I still have some rough days, but nothing compared to what I used to have because of this.
That's right. So use the swing to rehabilitate your back. Don't overprotect your back. Your back is made to work, but made to work intelligently. Okay, so if you're working your back, don't just work all day and use some deadlifts or do some good mornings and all that. Like there's a time and a place for those. And
well, even going back to talking about good mornings and deadlifts and stuff like that, the things we teach a lot when we're teaching the barbell work and our stuff is the exact same principle. Squeezing the hips,
right.
Squeezing the glutes, opening up the hip flexors. That's what's missing in a lot of powerlifting issues. That's causing it. There's not enough of that hip mobility going on. So solve those issues. Ankle hip mobility, which kettlebells will give you, carry it over to any type of strength move, and it'll make a big difference.
So don't be afraid to use the swings to build up yourself. Build yourself up back up to full strength.
Rebuild.
Excellent.